Episode 40, Things Kai Never Told Anyone. Page 4, the day Kai learned to be silent. It's not that Kai didn't want to talk, it's just that when he did, no one really listened that day. Kai told the adults that something was wrong at school, that he felt a nameless emptiness inside. The adults laughed. There's no way. You must be thinking too much. So Kai learned to keep quiet, learned to swallow down everything that needed to be embraced. Page 5. The cry was suppressed. Under the pillow, Kai used to cry as if his heart was being torn apart, and he had to cover his face with a pillow so no one could hear. Emotions are a luxury, tears are a nuisance. Kai understood that earlier than a child should, but it was strange every time. He cried silently. He would wake up in the morning still strong enough to smile in front of the mirror, as if there were two people living in one body. Page 6, Shapeless Sadness. There were afternoons when Kai felt sad without knowing. Why sadness that made him want to disappear, but no one did anything wrong. Kai walked aimlessly, watching people hurrying by and wondering, are any of them as lost as I am? That was the first time Kai understood sadness doesn't always have a reason, but if he could write it down, he wouldn't be alone anymore. Kai closed the book. His eyes were red, but he felt relieved. Page 7, the day Kai was angry at heaven. Kai once stood in the middle of the yard, head tilted to the sky, and shouted, "Why me?" The question broke out in the wind. The sky did not answer. The feeling of injustice filled his heart like water rising to his throat. Anyone who lost their father cried like Kai, but why couldn't Kai be weak? From that day on, Kai stopped praying. He only wrote. Each word was a silent interrogation. Page 8, Memories of a Cold Hand. The last time Kai held his father's hand, it was cold. Kai held it tightly, trying to transmit warmth through his tiny fingertips, wishing time could flow back. But his father did not wake up, and Kai was no longer a child, just one night. Kai learned the word forever, and from then on, no one would wait for him at the door. Page 9, the day Kai saved himself without anyone knowing. Kai once stood on the third-floor railing, not to jump, but to feel alive. The wind blew against his face. Cold and real Kai did not jump. Kai turned back, made himself a cup of hot milk, and wrote a short poem. If anyone asks me how I lived, I will say, alone but not letting go. Kai closed the book. This time with both hands, his eyes were dry. His heart stopped beating, a slight nod as if forgiving himself. Episode 41, Closing the Books. Page 10, Kai of tomorrow writes to Kai of the past. Baby, you did great. No one taught you how to endure, but you survived every heart-wrenching pain. It's not wrong to be weak. It's not wrong to be angry. And it's definitely not wrong to be sad now. You can rest a little. I'm an adult now. I'll live the rest of your life for you. In the light. Page 11. The picture without a frame. On the desk, there was an old photo. No one remembered the day it was taken. Kai kept it not because it was beautiful, but because it was real. In the photo was a little girl smiling awkwardly. Her hair messy, her eyes still swollen, but standing next to her was her deceased father. The photo had no frame because Kai did not want to close the memory, but kept it open like a door to return. Page 12, finally, Kai calls himself by name. That night, Kai looked in the mirror for a long time. No makeup, no neat clothes. Kai looked into his own eyes and whispered, Kai, I'm here. I'm back. He didn't need anyone to acknowledge him. He didn't need anyone to clap. He just needed to hear himself calling his name, and he knew from now on he wouldn't be lost anymore. Episode 42, Lin, the one who can touch pain without breaking it. Page 1, Lin appeared one unexpected morning. Kai opened the window. The sky was foggy. A girl with blue hair sat on the steps, holding a pot of hot tea. She didn't ask, who are you? She just handed the cup over and said, I know it doesn't cure sadness, but it's warm. Kai took it. They were both silent. Kai felt as if someone had cleared some of the dust from his heart. Page 2. Lynn doesn't preach morality, she lives it. Lynn led Kai through a path covered with fallen leaves, saying, I was once so hurt that I thought I would turn to stone. But you know what? It's okay to turn to stone, as long as my heart doesn't die. Kai didn't reply. Lynn suddenly sat down on the ground, drawing a circle around the two of them with a stick. From now on, in this circle, we don't need to be strong. We just need to be real. Page 3. Kai didn't dare open the door. Lynn knocked lightly. That was the room Kai had never entered since the day his father died. Lynn did not force him. She just stood in front of the door and placed a small piece of paper. If you want, I will come in with you. If you are not ready, I will still sit and wait outside. I am not going anywhere. Kai burst into tears for the first time in many years, not because of the pain, but because someone really stayed. Episode 4-3 Wood, the Daywalker. Page 1. Wood appears as if it had never left. Kai was drying books on the balcony when he saw a boy standing under the eggplant tree, holding a white piece of paper in his hand. Smiling as if he was hiding a secret, Lynn looked up and said, Oh, it's Woodwood. Looked at Kai, holding up the piece of paper. I heard you once forgot your dream. Let me write this again from the beginning. No one asked who. Wood was all they knew was that since he arrived, Kai's sleep had begun to have color. Page 2. Wood often walks barefoot to remember that he still touches the ground. He often said, what's the point of wearing sandals? If a dream doesn't touch the ground, it's an empty dream. Kai asked, aren't you afraid of stepping on thorns? Wood laughed. Thorns can hurt, but you can still feel the pain-losing sensation is what's scary. From that day on, Kai also took off his shoes, at least in his dreams. Page 3. Kai, Lynn, and Wood together in the moonlight room. That night, the power went out. The three of them lit candles and lay down on the floor. Wood said the world is so big, but sometimes all you need is a room and two people who know how to listen. Lynn nodded. Kai looked at the ceiling where the moonlight reflected in the shape of the word home. No one needed to say anything more. That silence was warm enough to last a season. Episode 44, Diary of Three Voices. Kai, Lynn, Wood. 1. Kai's voice. Things I never dare to say. There was a time when I called all dreams useless because my father was dead, because everyone left, because I didn't want to remember anything anymore. But then Lynn sat next to me without saying anything. Wood drew a door on the wall and said, if you're afraid to open it, let's draw another door to start over. I didn't believe it, but then my hands trembled touching watercolors. For the first time I cried, and it seemed like I also laughed. 2. Lynn's voice. I used to think I was just a patchworker. I used to sit in the rain because rainwater doesn't differentiate between tears. When I met Kai, I realized I didn't need to patch anyone up. I just needed to sit next to them, be quiet, and hold their hand when they were shaking. Healing isn't about making someone stop hurting. It's about making them not be alone in their pain. 3. Wood's voice. Dreams are the only thing I believe is real. Adults often tell me to be realistic, but I have seen Kai draw his memories with crayons and Lynn recite poetry to a yellow leaf. So I believe dreaming is not running away. Dreaming is how we continue to live gently,